Welcome back, citizens! Caroline here. You might already know that the House of Representatives, one part of Congress, has 435 members. But did you know that the original plan called for one representative for every 30,000 people? It's true. That means that in the US today, we would have a House of Representatives with something like 11,000 members. Crazy, huh? There's lots more info coming your way today as we take an in-depth look at the U.S. House of Representatives. Our objectives today are to describe the terms of office for U.S. representatives, list and describe the requirements of the job, and explain the process by which representatives are elected. You may want to print out the guided notes now if you haven't done so already. The first objective is easy to cover. Representatives are elected for 2-year terms. That means they serve 2 years, then must be re-elected to stay in office. An interesting fact about the U.S. House of Representatives is this. The entire membership of 435 people is elected every 2 years. That means that every other year, every person in one of America's most important jobs could be replaced. It's important to note, too, that the House has no term limits. That means a representative can be re-elected over and over and over again. That's exactly what John Dingell did. A Democrat from Michigan, Dingell served over 59 years in the House from 1955 until he retired in January 2015. The requirements to be a U.S. representative are outlined clearly in the Constitution, and there are only 3. First, a member of the House must be at least 25 years old. That's not far away for you. A representative must reside in the state they are elected to represent. Imagine electing someone who is not a resident of a state. How would they know the wants and needs of the people they represent? And would the representative really have their best interests at heart? The third requirement is that a representative must have been a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years. This is to ensure loyalty to the U.S. Keep in mind that only 2 jobs in the U.S. government require that the individual is born a U.S. citizen. You might be able to figure that one out. You've already heard that the original plan for the House was to provide a representative for every 30,000 people. Early in our nation's history, it became apparent that doing so would quickly become a problem. However, it is still based on population. The United States conducts a census every 10 years to count those living in the U.S., and once the results are in, the House recalibrates its membership. Every state is guaranteed at least 1 representative. In fact, there are 6 states that have only 1. They are Alaska, Delaware, North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, and Wyoming. As you might guess, those are the least populated states. In fact, as of 2022, there are only 6 states with fewer than 1 million residents. Since representation is based on population, the states with the most people also have the most votes in Congress. As of 2022, those states were California with 52 representatives, Texas with 38, Florida with 28, and New York with 26. No other state has more than 17. An interesting fact is that some less populated states actually have more representatives per capita than a state with a lot of people. For example, Wyoming has only 1 representative, but that individual serves 578,000 people. In contrast, New York's 26 representatives serve an average of more than 777,000 citizens. So, if a New Yorker moved to Wyoming, his vote would effectively have more influence on Congress than in his previous state. Interesting, huh? Unlike senators who represent an entire state, a U.S. representative is elected to speak for a district within a state, unless we're talking about the 6 states with only 1 representative, of course. This map of Kansas is one example. For another, take a look at this map of congressional districts in Oregon. 1 representative speaks for a large geographic portion of the state, as you can see in green. Meanwhile, most of the population lives close to the Pacific coast in cities such as Portland, and the congressional districts are smaller. Voters within each district elect a representative, who then speaks for them in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Only voters within that congressional district can vote for that representative. The House of Representatives does have some specific duties separate from the Senate. For example, the House impeaches government officials, such as the president. What that means is that representatives determine whether enough evidence of wrongdoing is present for there to be a trial. If so, the Senate handles the actual trial. Also, all bills for raising revenues, such as taxes, originate in the House of Representatives. Still, the House of Representatives is sometimes referred to as the lower house. It generally has less prestige, partly because of the 2-year term, or perhaps due to time restrictions on speaking. Many who one day served as president began their careers in the House of Representatives, and remember, you can serve in the House as young as 25 years old. Maybe you'll want to consider running yourself in just a few years. Remember to complete the activities in the PDF, vote, debate, and participate, and remember to always be clever.
Hey.